Alright man, so today we're going to be talking about how to be effective with Takumi. So Takumi is an ISO based character. He does not need screens. Can't emphasize this enough. You got a Takumi on your team. Please don't set him any screens unless he calls for a pick and roll. Outside of that, you should not be anywhere near your Takumi. Now you might be asking me, Dream, why should I not set a screen for Takumi? Why is it a bad idea to set a screen for a point guard? Well, that's because he doesn't have any abilities like Nana. Nana has the drift 3, so if she's behind a screen and there's only one person trying to guard her behind that screen, then if they try to go around, she can just go into a drift 3 and they will not be able to mark that shot. You think about Jackie, he's behind a screen, one person's trying to guard that, he creates enough space, he can jump into a fadeaway 3 and they cannot stop him. And you also think about Lily, who's inside the same situation as Nana. So yeah, you don't want to be setting screens for these ISO-based characters because if they don't have an ability that pairs with your screen, it's a waste of a screen, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to force an unwanted double team. So make sure y'all keep that in mind, centers and power forwards, as well as y'all small forwards and shooting guards. You should not be setting screens for your Takumi because he gets you wide open in a different way. So the way that Takumi gets his teammates wide open, he utilizes his high mobility when he has the ball, and then he creates space that way so that they will be forced to help on defense. And then when they help on defense, you go ahead and pass it to open man, get your hands on some free points. So let's go ahead and look at the stats because this is my current build right now. So a lot of people might look at my shooting stats and think, Dream, you need more 3-point. Dream, you need more mid shot. But the reality of the situation is I don't need more shooting stats because he has the Inspire that will boost our accuracy by 15%, provided we get 3 ankle breakers. And it is very difficult to get ankle breakers in higher elo because they're using these really fast point guards like Nana, these really fast point guards like Boa with her diving steal. Then you got these really fast point guards like Yui, Albert. The fastest point guards in the game are very meta right now. And all they really have to do against the Takumi is just step back. So if he's doing a behind the back dribble feint into a step back, even if they step back a little bit too far, by the time he fires that shot off, you'll have a normal disturbance at the 3 and probably a normal disturbance inside the mid-range area too because Takumi does not have any disturbance resistance. So yeah, don't really need more shooting stats. What you need is to boost your mobility. So I decided to go ahead and focus on dribble and speed. Those are the main 2 stats I decided to focus on, and anything else that came after those was just a bonus. So you might be thinking, why are you going into dribble? It is useless. No matter how much dribble you have, if you're dribbling the ball for too long, you're going to get ripped. Well, we're not doing this so we can avoid rips. Of course, that part of it helps as well. But the main thing that we want from this is to get extra speed while we're dribbling the ball. So most people don't know this, but the higher your dribble stat is, the less of a movement penalty you'll get when you're dribbling the ball. So let's say I decided not to go into dribble. When I'm walking around and dribbling the ball, I'm going to be moving a whole lot slower than I would if I didn't have this high dribble stat. So make sure y'all also keep that in mind. This isn't just a Takumi thing. Using someone like a Justin, you want to actually be able to create that space by being able to move quickly. You're using someone like Marcus, using someone like a Susan. It is not a bad idea to slap some dribble on there because the faster you are, the easier it is to set your defender up for ankle breakers. And if you don't want to go for an ankle breaker because they're on your side and you can't snap their ankles, you can just go in the other direction. The whole goal is to set them up for an ankle breaker and then make your decision based off of what they decide to do next. So next stat we focused on was speed. Of course, we got 130 down there, and that was probably the first stat that I tried to focus on because this is going to affect our speed when we do have the ball as well as when we don't have it. So this is going to strengthen our defense. It's not going to make us block more shots. It's just going to make sure that they don't get as many wide open ones because you're chasing that Nana behind the screen and your center's trying to stop the inside ISO score. You're going to need that extra speed just in case. So we're going to jump to the training area. I'll show y'all some dribble move combos and a little bit of psychology so that y'all can actually win these games with Takumi. All right, man, we got training area pulled up. We got our man Takumi in here. So Takumi has 2 dribble moves. He has the fancy stepping back, and he also has the behind the back dribble. We're gonna look at behind the back right now. So someone asked me on a video, someone asked me in the comments on a video yesterday, how do you do that? He was talking about the behind the back dribble feint. So he was talking about this. Just like that. So you just double tap while you have your behind the back dribble ready. So how do you get your behind the back dribble ready? You just do a regular dribble move. Then after that, you get your behind the back dribble. Now it's important to note that if you do a behind the back dribble feint into a step back, your behind the back dribble will still be ready. And you can also do behind the backs after the step back. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. I know I said we were gonna come in here and look at combos, but it's important that y'all know this information so that you can create your very own combos, because I use a lot of different combinations and stuff, especially if the defender is catching on to me. You gotta learn how to switch it up sometimes. So let's talk about some psychology real quick. So Takumi's fancy stepping back is a really strong tool for setting your defender up for an ankle breaker, because it creates so much space. They don't expect you to initiate with a fancy stepping back, and when they do, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna follow you backwards and they're gonna stand to one of your sides. So let's say I go for a fancy stepping back. I got a Nico guarding me, and she's leaning more towards the left side, waiting for me to do a dribble move at the end of my step back. So she's trying to stop my dribble. So what do you do to counteract something like that? Let's get rid of our behind the back, because this is much more effective when you don't have that ready. So you do your fancy stepping back. She's on your left side over there. Easy peasy, man. All you got to do is go into a crossover in this direction and then do a dribble move after. You're going to create so much space that the person that is closest to you, that is not your defender, they have no choice but to come out there and help, because if they don't, you get a wide open shot. So let's go ahead and look at this in full. So we do our fancy stepping back. I see her going to my left side. We're going to go ahead and do our crossover in this direction. And just like that, we managed to create enough space for a wide open shot. But Dream, what if I go to a fancy stepping back and they decide not to go to my sides? Well, at that point, you still do the same thing. So the fancy stepping back is also a really good tool for freezing your defender. And it's like I said before, if your defender freezes and you go into a crossover, you're going to break their ankles and you get a wide open shot that way as well. Or you can force the help defense and pass to the open man. Whichever one comes is the one that you take the opportunity for. Now, it's very important that as Takumi, you remember that you're a point guard. It is your main focus to be passing the ball. You want to rack up assists with Takumi. You want to rack up those ankle breakers, because those ankle breakers give your teammates 15% extra accuracy when you get all the stacks. All right, so now we're gonna look at another combo. This is a combo that's very common with Susan and Marcus. So you just do a behind the back dribble feint into a step back, and then you go into a behind the back dribble to the left or right. Now, the way that you want to be using this, so you want to use the downtime from your behind the back dribble feint to examine your defender. So what are they doing while you're doing your feint? Are they simply just standing in front of you? If they're simply just standing in front of you, finish the dribble. You know, just go to the side. You're going to snap their ankles in half. There's nothing they can do about it if they're standing still in front of you. Now, let's say, for example, that we decide to go into a behind the back dribble feint and they start to walk backwards behind us so that they can avoid the ankle breaker while actually being able to stick to us on defense. So what you want to do is you go into your behind the back dribble feint, and then you examine your defender during that feint. Are they stepping backwards to your left, or are they stepping backwards to your right? And during that downtime, as well as the downtime that you have during your fancy stepping back after the feint, you just make your decision based on what their positioning is. So let's go ahead and look at it real quick. So let's say I go into my behind the back dribble feint. They're on my right side at the back. We just jump into one of those, snap their ankles in half. If they're standing there, they will get their ankle snapped in half, especially if they're standing still. So another combo I like to do is a crossover step back into a behind the back dribble. So let's get our behind the back dribble ready real quick. All right, so let's say the whole game has been going by. You have been cooking your defender up. You've been doing your fancy stepping backs into crossovers, into dribble moves, getting those wide open opportunities, forcing the help defense and passing to the open man. So at some point, they're going to start to chase you. And when they start to chase you, you've effectively set them up for this next ankle breaker combination. And that's this combo right here. It's the crossover step back into a behind the back. So let's say my defender's on my right side. They're chasing me and they expect me to actually finish my crossover and go to the side. So what we're going to do is double tap. We're going to step back and we break their ankles in half, man. It is a beautiful, beautiful combination of moves to use. So you can go into like fancy stepping back into one of those. They're going to chase you and then you can snap their ankles in half. Come out here to the 3-point line with your extra accuracy and get some free points. So all right, man. There are plenty more combos that you can use with this character. There are so many different combinations that you can use, but these are the 3 that I use the absolute most because I get the most ankle breakers with these. Now, it's very important that you use the downtime during your dribbles to examine your defender. What are they doing in reaction to the moves that you decide to do? When you simply just dribble between your legs, what are they doing? Are they standing still? If they're standing still, when you just do this, just jump into a crossover. You're going to snap their ankles in half. It's literally free. And then you can score or pass. Just depends on the situation. They help on defense. Make sure that you pass the ball. Very important that you pass the ball. And if they're standing to your sides, especially if they're standing behind you to your side, make sure that you do your behind the back dribble feint backwards. Use the downtime to examine your defender. You might think, Dream, that is not enough time for me to examine my defender. But fact of the matter is, you just don't understand how to use that time. You have to think quickly. You're using Takumi. You must be able to think quickly. And that's what it took his dribble and pass away, because people couldn't think quickly with Takumi. So yeah, man, we're going to wrap this video up. Y'all want to see more of this? Go ahead and drop a like, sub to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one, man.